Welcome to another episode of the 5-Minute Salute, a program sponsored by the Firewatch and focused on highlighting the experiences of Northeast Florida leaders and the great things they do for veterans in our community. I'm Nick Howland, your host and Executive Director of the Firewatch, and with me today is Wally Conway, the owner, founder, and CEO of Home Pro Inspections. Wally, thanks for being here.
Thanks, Nick. Happy to be with you.
Well, Wally, you've got 15 employees, and you have pledged to get them all trained as watchstanders for the Firewatch.
I have. You know, one of the things that I recall so well and I miss so much about my time on active duty was that sense of caring for your shipmate.
Yep.
You knew that your shipmate had your back, and you knew it was your responsibility to watch out for your shipmate.
Absolutely.
Well, in that transition to civilian life, there aren't so many people watching our backs, and it's not clear to us sometimes how we can watch the other person's back. And I'm just so grateful for Firewatch to give us that path to say, remember those shipmates? They're still out there. They're veterans. And by watching out for each other, we can do great things. So I'm just proud to be able to leverage our staff, our eyes and ears to participate, to help stop this plague of us locally losing a veteran every week.
So well said, Wally. And as you know, we lose over 6,000 veterans in the United States every year to suicide. In Florida, between 500 and 600, and in Northeast Florida, 1 per week. So by having 15 more folks out there, your Home Pro employees and inspectors, standing by for veterans, standing watch, being able to identify the risk signs of veterans in crisis, being able to know how to ask them if they need help and know where to direct them, you're going to help us prevent more veteran suicides and reverse this national tragedy.
I know that we will, and I'm excited to get that word out. And I see it this way, Nick. We've got veterans on our staff.
Yep.
We've got people on our staff who are married to veterans.
Yep.
We've got people on our staff who have children who are veterans, or a parent who's a veteran, a neighbor is a veteran.
Yep.
And the impact that a single individual in Firewatch can have is really watching over 50 or 100 or 500 people in their sphere just by learning the warning signs and letting people know, I sit the Firewatch. You can talk to me. I care about you.
Absolutely, 100%. And what you just said is something we reiterate. There is a role for everybody. You don't have to be a veteran. You don't have to be an active duty military member. You don't even have to be a veteran spouse, although they make up the lion's share of our watchstanders in the program right now. Anyone who cares about a veteran can join the program and can have a direct impact. Basically, the program is designed to be a little bit like CPR. You know, it's an early intervention bystander type program designed to get people out there in the community. So when someone falls into crisis, or even before they fall into crisis, that bystander who has been trained, a watchstander in our case, can help that person get the resources they need.
I love that analogy, Nick. You know, virtually all of us at this point in time, we're CPR trained. We're ready to do that thing.
Yeah.
Yet we're in prayer that we never need to.
Exactly.
And even greater than that is imagining the situation where there was a person in need who needed the CPR and you went, I should have taken that course.
Exactly.
Well, Firewatch is exactly that program.
Yep.
It's being prepared, recognizing the warning signs, knowing how to direct that person to help. Are we hoping we never need to use that? We absolutely are. But more than that, we want to feel the goodness of recognizing a person in distress and guiding them to some help.
Absolutely, and guiding them to help is the key. So we are technically a prevention program. You know, the federal government has poured billions more into the VA's mental health budget every year for the past several years, yet our suicide rate nationwide continues to climb. So programs like ours are intended to be a novel and innovative way to help stem the tide and reverse the trend of veteran suicides. They're prevention. They're address the risk signs before that veteran falls into crisis.
Well, the government can put in another $100 billion if it wanted to, but it takes boots on the ground, eyeballs and ears, seeing where the need is to direct that help that's been funded.
Absolutely.
The funding is a total waste if those of us in the community can't assist in getting that funding toward the individual that needs it and the individual towards those sources of help.
Yep, and our program is community-based, and it's folks like you who are running businesses, who are out there among veterans, who are out there in the community, who are going to stem the tide of veteran suicides. So, Wally, thanks for committing to get all your employees watchstander qualified. It means a lot, and you're going to do a great thing for veterans in Northeast Florida.
It means a lot to us, Nick, to participate.
Thanks for being with us.
Thank you.
Thanks again for joining us on another episode of 5-Minute Salute. The Firewatch is Northeast Florida's fight to end veteran suicide. You heard Wally and I just talk about it. There is a role for everybody. Visit thefirewatch.org. Become a watchstander today. Together, we will end veteran suicide.
Hello, I'm John Rutherford from the United States House of Representatives, and I am a watchstander.
Hi, I'm Michelle McManaman from Operation Uniform, and I am a watchstander, and so is everyone in my organization.
I'm Damika Jackson. I'm the president of the Jacksonville Veterans Chamber of Commerce, and I am a watchstander.
Each year, over 6,000 U.S. military veterans take their own lives, including one per week in Northeast Florida. The Firewatch is our community's fight to end veteran suicide. Join us. Become a watchstander today at thefirewatch.org. Together, we will end veteran suicide. Thank you for your interest in the Firewatch, Northeast Florida's fight to end veteran suicide. I'm Nick Howland, Navy veteran and Executive Director of the Firewatch. Over 6,000 U.S. veterans take their own lives each year, including more than 500 per year here in Florida. The tragedy covers all age groups, all demographics. The highest numbers are in the 55 and older category, your Vietnam and your Korean War veterans. But the highest rate of suicide is in the 18 to 34-year-old category, our Iraq and Afghanistan veterans. The VA invests billions annually in mental health counseling to combat veteran suicide. And for those who've taken advantage of these services, the results have been terrific. But suicides continue to rise. The Firewatch was created to do something about it here, locally, at the community level. We believe that if we can just help a veteran find the community resources he or she needs before that veteran is thinking of hurting him or herself, then we can reduce or even end veteran suicide in our community. That is what our Watchstander program is all about, and that's why you're here. We are mobilizing and training 10,000 members of the community, just like you, to stand vigilant to the concerns of our veterans, to watch out for those risk signs, and to direct veterans to the help that they need. Every community member has a role, veteran or not. If you're a civilian, we ask that you watch the first video in our portal, 15 Things Every Veteran Wants You to Know, and then the second video, our cornerstone program called SAVE. If you joined us as a military member or a veteran, you'll skip right to the SAVE video. The training takes just a few minutes, but it is impactful. SAVE teaches us to identify veterans in crisis and to call 911 or the Veterans Crisis Line an emergency. That's critical to saving lives. But at the Firewatch, we also want to help veterans before they fall into crisis. So we're asking you, after SAVE, to spend a few minutes glancing over our digital veteran resources guide. There are nearly 400 Northeast Florida resources for veterans in the guide, from job transition to housing to legal aid. If you encounter a veteran who is not in crisis but just needs help, you can direct them to our guide. Or, if there's simply too much to navigate, any veteran in Northeast Florida at any time can reach our partner Mission United by dialing 211 from any phone. Experienced attendants, generally veterans themselves, are standing by 24 hours a day, 7 days a week to direct veterans to those same resources. If all this sounds like a lot, don't worry. The Watchstander portal, developed for us by the Psych Armor Institute, will guide you quickly through it. At the end, you'll take our pledge to watch out for veterans, and you'll be able to download your own Watchstander certificate. Additionally, if you gave us your address in the profile section at registration, we'll even send you a package with a wristband, a car sticker, and a wallet card. We then ask that you get out there, among our veterans, attend veteran events, stay vigilant to the concerns of our heroes, and keep that wallet card where it belongs, in your wallet, so you'll never forget where to send a veteran, whether they're in crisis or just in need. And if you want to learn more about how to help veterans, be sure to check out the other training videos available on the Psych Armor website. As a Watchstander, you can access all of them for free. Think of this program a little bit like learning CPR. By having more folks like you aware of the risk factors of veterans in crisis and knowledgeable about how to get them help, we will be well on our way to ending the national tragedy of veteran suicide. After all, veterans are folks who have written blank checks, up to and including their lives, to protect our great country. The least our great country can do is protect them. Enjoy the training, and thank you again for joining us in the fight to end veteran suicide.
This course is sponsored by Cerner. We would like to thank Cerner for their generosity in making this course possible.
Hello, and welcome to this presentation of SAVE, #BeThere. This course is brought to you by the Department of Veterans Affairs in collaboration with Psych Armor Institute. My name is Megan McCarthy, and I am the Deputy Director for Suicide Prevention in the Veterans Health Administration, Office of Mental Health and Suicide Prevention. Our hope for this course is that each of our learners will recognize that we all have a role in suicide prevention. Each of us has the opportunity to be that one person who makes a difference, the person who asks the question that can save a veteran's life, or the life of any person struggling with thoughts of suicide. By the end of this course, the learner will be able to, first, develop a general understanding of the problem of suicide in the United States. Second, understand how to identify a veteran who might be at risk for suicide. And third, know what to do if you identify a veteran at risk. Suicide is a serious public health problem in the United States. Every 12 minutes, someone dies by suicide in our country, making suicide the 10th leading cause of death among Americans. In America, suicides among veterans have received a great deal of attention in recent years. The estimated number of veterans who die by suicide each day in America has changed from year to year, but several factors about veteran suicide have remained constant. For instance, veterans account for 18% of adult suicides in the United States, even though veterans comprise only about 9% of the U.S. adult population. In addition, we know that veterans are more likely to use firearms as a means for suicide than people in the general population. Another thing we know for sure, all branches of the military and the VA are absolutely committed to preventing suicide among our country's heroes. So what is SAVE? SAVE is a VA suicide prevention training intended to help everyone who cares about veterans understand the facts about suicide. SAVE helps people identify a veteran at risk, and it provides information about what to do to help a veteran in distress. We all have a role in suicide prevention, and each one of us can help save the life of a veteran who is struggling. The first step is to understand some of the most commonly held beliefs about suicide and understand what is true and what is a myth. With this knowledge, we can all be there and make a difference in the lives of the veterans around us. Number 1, if somebody really wants to die by suicide, he or she will find a way to do it. This is absolutely not true. The fact is that making one form of suicide less convenient does not lead people to just attempt a different way. In fact, it can lead to a decrease in suicide. Perhaps the greatest evidence we have that death by suicide is preventable is related to limiting access to lethal means. It's an important and fascinating connection that has been demonstrated in multiple studies. We know that access to the means to kill yourself is an important risk factor for dying by suicide. Many studies show that most, but not all, suicidal crises are relatively brief, lasting minutes to hours. So if we can build in time and space between the decision to attempt suicide and the ability to do so for just a few hours, we will save lives. In addition, we know from decades of research that the overwhelming majority of people, around 90%, do not substitute one method for another if they survive a suicidal crisis. That is, 90% of people do not go on to die by suicide if their first attempt does not result in death. Here's an example of what we're talking about. After World War II, suicide rates in the United Kingdom were increasing, and a substantial percentage of the people who were dying by suicide were dying by suffocation, using the carbon monoxide gas in their home ovens. After the UK switched to using gas that had a very low carbon monoxide content, preventing people from taking their lives using their ovens, the suicide rate in the UK dropped by 43%. The interesting thing was that people did not replace it with another means. And this pattern has been found over the years by a number of other studies in many different countries. We know that the overwhelming majority of people who die by suicide have a diagnosable mental health condition at the time of their death. SAVE is about preventing a crisis before it happens. If you can learn a little bit about the best ways to encourage a veteran in your life to get the help he or she needs and get connected with potentially life-saving treatment before a potential crisis, you have made a difference for that person. Please don't be afraid to talk to veterans in your life who might be at risk about the importance of safely storing weapons and medication. Open communication and collaboration can be the key to saving someone's life. Number 2, asking about suicidal thoughts or plans may lead someone to take his or her life. This is also not true. The truth is that asking someone you are concerned about if he or she is thinking about suicide does not create suicidal thoughts. On the contrary, asking this simple question gives people permission to talk about their thoughts and feelings. Sometimes it can be just one person who cares enough to ask, "How are you?" and then takes the time to really listen to the answer. That saves a life. Number 3, there are talkers and there are doers. You've probably heard this one too, that people who really want to take their lives don't talk about it, and that the people who are talking about it aren't going to do it. This is absolutely not true. Research demonstrates that most people who are considering suicide show signs of serious distress and/or talk specifically about death or suicide. The truth is that many people who die by suicide have communicated that they were in crisis, that they had suicidal thoughts or plans to someone in their lives. In other words, many people who die by suicide or attempt suicide have given some clue or warning that they have been struggling a lot. Someone who talks openly about suicide provides others with an opportunity to help before the situation gets worse. Suicide threats should never be ignored and should always be taken seriously. No matter how casually the person speaks about it, statements like, "You'll be sorry when I'm dead," or "I can't see any way out," may indicate very serious suicidal feelings. Number 4, a person won't die by suicide if he or she has just made plans for a vacation, has young children at home, made a verbal or written promise to someone, or knows how much he or she is loved by his or her family. This is also not true. While planning for the future or having loving family and children at home can sometimes be protective factors for suicide, the intent to die can arise suddenly and override rational or logical thinking. Veterans who are experiencing suicidal thoughts and plans must be taken seriously and referred to a clinician who can evaluate and treat them. SAVE provides a way for all of us to act with care and compassion if we encounter a veteran in distress. Think SAVE to remember the important steps in preventing suicide. S is for signs. Learn to recognize the signs that indicate someone may be thinking about suicide. A is for ask. Ask the most important question of all. V is for validate. It is crucial to validate the veteran's experience and make him or her feel understood and supported. E is for encourage and expedite. It's important to encourage veterans to get treatment and to expedite them getting help. Let's go through each of these steps in more detail. S is for signs. There may be several signs or clues that you can observe in veterans' thoughts, feelings, and behavior that a veteran is considering suicide and needs our help. Hopelessness. This is feeling like there is no way out. Anxiety, agitation, insomnia, or mood changes. Feeling there is no reason to live. Rage or anger. Increasing alcohol or drug use. Withdrawal from family or friends. In addition, any of the following signs require immediate medical or emergency intervention. Thoughts of hurting or killing him or herself. Looking for ways to die. talking about death, dying, or suicide. Self-destructive or risk-taking behavior, especially including alcohol, drugs, or weapons. A is for ask. It is vital that we all know to ask the most important question of all. Are you thinking about killing yourself? Some things to consider. Do ask the question whenever you have seen the warning signs we've discussed here. Do ask the question in a natural way. Let it be part of the conversation as if it were a natural thing to talk about, because it is. This reduces stigma and helps the veteran feel more comfortable talking about it with you. Please don't ask the question in a way that sounds like you're expecting a no answer. For instance, you aren't thinking of suicide, are you? Please don't wait to ask the question until the veteran is, or you are, leaving. Give yourself time to talk about this. It's that important. Other things to think about. Stay calm. Listen more than you speak. Make eye contact and keep it. Look confident. Don't argue with the veteran. Let your body language be open and comforting. Make your comments encouraging and supportive. And be honest, this is a difficult situation and the answer is not a quick fix, but there is help available. V is for validate. Validate the veteran's experience. Talk openly about suicide. Listen and allow the veteran to talk, no matter what he or she is feeling. Acknowledge that the situation is serious, but do not judge. Reassure the veteran that help is available and you will help him or her find it. E is for encourage treatment and expedite getting help. What should I do if I think a veteran is suicidal? Do not keep it a secret. Do not leave the veteran alone. Try to get the veteran immediate help from his or her doctor, from the nearest ER, or from 911. Reassure the veteran that help is available. You can call the Veterans Crisis Line at 1-800-273-8255, press 1 for veterans. Text the Veterans Crisis Line at 838-255, or visit veteranscrisisline.net and click on the upper right corner of the screen to enter the confidential Veterans Chat. The responders at the Veterans Crisis Line are there to serve all veterans and anyone who is trying to help a veteran. Please provide this number to any veteran or friend or family member of a veteran. A few important safety issues to cover. Never negotiate with someone who has a gun. Please get to safety and call 911. If the veteran has taken pills, cut him or herself, or done harm to him or herself in some other way, call 911 immediately. Here are some important resources to know about. VA clinical and suicide prevention support. The Veterans Health Administration provides specialty inpatient and outpatient mental health services at its medical centers and community-based outpatient clinics. All mental health care provided by VA supports recovery, which is striving to enable a person with mental health problems to live a meaningful life in the community and achieve his or her full potential. In addition, each VA medical center has a suicide prevention coordinator to ensure veterans get connected with the care and support they've earned. Visit the resource locator under the Get Help tab of the veteranscrisisline.net website to find your nearest resource. There are many, such as the Suicide Prevention Coordinator, VA Medical Center, or vet centers. Vet centers are VA community-based centers that provide a range of counseling, outreach, and referral services. They have access to VA medical records, but their records are kept separate. Make the connection. This is a one-stop online resource where veterans and their families can confidentially explore information on their own time about mental health symptoms, challenging life events, and mental health conditions. On this site, veterans and their families and friends can learn about available resources and support. In addition, many veterans tell their own stories here, reducing stigma and normalizing what veterans might be feeling. PTSD-Specific veteran resources. Each VA medical center has PTSD specialists who provide treatment for veterans with PTSD. This includes the PTSD coaching app, which allows phone users to manage their symptoms, links them with local sources of support, and provides information on PTSD. Finally, there's the Veterans and Military Crisis Line, which has responders working around the clock to answer calls and texts or chats from veterans who need them. For all of you who might be gatekeepers for our veterans in so many important roles in their lives, you have the ability to save a life. Each of us, if we act with confidence and calmness and remember SAVE, can make the difference that gives a veteran hope in a time of crisis. Remember the steps of SAVE. Know the signs. Ask the question. Validate the veteran's feelings. Encourage getting help and expedite treatment. Thank you for taking the time to learn this vital information. Armed with SAVE, you can be the person who makes that all-important difference in a veteran's life. Thank you for all you do. Be there.
Thank you for taking the time to learn about this important topic and about our nation's military, veterans, and their family members. If you have any questions about this course or need assistance, please visit the PsychArmor website or call the PsychArmor support line at 844-779-2427.
To complete your certification as a watchstander, you still need to complete the online pledge. Text SAVE, that's S-A-V-E, to the number below or scan the QR code at the bottom of your screen. You'll receive an email with access to your own online portal, which gives you complete access to PsychArmor Institute's suite of online courses. You can also print your watchstander certificate from that portal. And in that online pledge, if you include your home or your work address, we'll send you a watchstander package. That package comes with a wristband, a car sticker, and a wallet card. As we've said before, keep that wallet card handy, because when you encounter a veteran in crisis or just in need of help, it'll remind you what to do. Thanks again for stepping off the sidelines with us. Together, we will end veteran suicide.